The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County. And we're going to talk for the next 30 minutes for the first time since COVID-19 hit. And my very last program, before we actually shut down and literally shut everything down, was with Deb Riitano, the Albany County Department of Aging Commissioner, Department for Aging Commissioner, I should say. And we were talking about all the wonderful things that 2020 was going to have in store. And boy, 2020 now is, hindsight is 2020, they say, Deb. Welcome back, Deb Riitano. Year of the senior. 2020 was no one's year.
No, it was not.
No, it was COVID's year, right? What happened since the last time we've been together? COVID-19 and the senior. I mean, it really had to have a huge impact. I know the impact that it had on my life, and I'm not a senior who is, well, I'm a senior, but not a senior that's relying on a lot of the programs and services and the day-to-day living. What did you hear when things shut down and people couldn't go anywhere? Seniors were, with Matilda's Law, seniors had to stay home.
Yes, I did. Yep, that applied to me. Well, like everyone else, we were in shock in a macro way and in a micro way, because I am a senior. I'll be 72 in August. How did it impact? And personally, I had my own struggles. I was depressed being inside. I found the isolation very difficult. I have 6 children, who help stay in contact and all of that, and grandchildren.
But you couldn't see them.
Couldn't see them, and I'm not real technologically savvy, but enough that we can do FaceTime and all of that kind of stuff, and we didn't see anybody for a long time. For our client, for the seniors that we deal with, our advisory council and my goal since I got there was that I wanted us to be a different face of aging so that we were more accessible to the seniors. We still want that. We're still working towards that, and it's working. We have people who call us all the time directly about the services that they can get and all of that and all of that.
And you were accessible during.
We were very accessible. I mean, we all worked from home. We are terribly grateful to the county executive. Myself, on a personal note, for our seniors, are very grateful because he did, in fact, and I heard it over and over again, seniors felt that he kept them safe. And we are very grateful. My staff, all of us, but our seniors were very grateful and looked forward to his daily update. Dr. Whalen, for what she had to say. I mean, people were hanging on every word, and moi included. So all of that to say that as tough as it was, we kept cranking it out. And people's services really were not interrupted if, home delivered meals were taken care of. You couldn't do the congregate meals.
Right. So let's talk about that, because so much when we talk about interaction and mental health and just the socialization really is around congregate meals. That had to be a big hit.
It was a big hit, and it was a big hit for the people who contract with us.
Sure.
we had talked about that restaurant program that we had started.
Go and dine.
Go and Dine, and which will have a new face pretty
And we'll
soon.
talk about that, yeah.
And but when we did that, nobody ever suspected, not here, not in Erie County, where we shared the grant, did we ever think that that little grant would keep restaurants afloat in throughout the community, those restaurants who participated with us. Because seniors were allowed to do takeout. The New York State Office for Aging under Greg Olson was marvelous. I mean, they waived all requirements. They waived where you could use your money, for these specific lines. We wouldn't have gotten through that without that leadership.
And I should underscore, for those who don't know about Go and Dine or don't recall the specifics of Go and Dine, seniors would get a card, and they could go for a prescribed number of meals each month to participating restaurants, and they would have to have their meal in the restaurant because it was part of a socialization.
That's correct.
Thing. But as you said, everything was shut down. People still needed food. Seniors needed food. The program allowed for takeout.
And for those who went to congregate meals, they were then offered the opportunity, again, through the leadership of Greg Olson, to participate in home-delivered meals without all the assessment, without all the stuff that usually goes with that. We were able to just put people on so that we were sure people were getting meals. And that was very important. I mean, I can't say enough about the New York State Office for Aging, because not only did they help us every step of the way financially, they personally would call to say, hey, how you doing today? How are you making out? We here in Albany County would have a call almost every day with our providers, keep people's spirits up and to talk about it. I mean, people needed to talk about it. And my staff and our providers, we did it every day. And it really went that part of it went really, really well.
So let me ask you this.
Yep.
The home-delivered meals continued.
Yes.
The now congregate meals were more like a grab and go, right?
More like a grab and go.
So were there more seniors now participating? Okay.
There were more seniors participating. The amount of home-delivered meals increased tremendously.
Okay.
The governor's determination will be up now in a few days, and we've already gone back to we think almost all of our congregate meal sites are open. There's a few that haven't started yet. Some of that has to do with if you're in an independent living center, you have to go. I mean, it's an independent living center, so you have to go through their board, and whether or not they'll open up and people can have access to that community.
Sure.
So we're waiting on that for a few people, but generally it's up and going. People are returning. We were afraid people might not return. In fact, the first results in are great. Waterville people are all showed up.
What's the feedback? What are you hearing?
Yeah, great. They were glad to see each other. I mean, we went for opening day to Waterville. There were several participants in tears because they hadn't seen people. They were so glad they were glad to see this day happen. Holly Cargill-Kramer has done an excellent job with bringing it all back, and there are a lot of restrictions that are lessening. Every day there's something less that they have to do. But she did an excellent job in writing up a protocol and fulfilling it. I mean, really excellent. So we're really pleased with all of that, and we're glad to see our centers opened.
It's great news. I know that it is a little bittersweet when my mom, for the first time, went last week when the senior center reopened their weekly meal, and it was bittersweet, I say, because she wasn't sure who was going to still be here, who had survived COVID, and who would be making it to that senior lunch. that's also got to be difficult as seniors returned to find out folks that they hadn't been regularly in touch with, because the connection may be just at that meal. What kind of advice can you offer to those who may be, a family member or a friend who is now hearing from their loved one who's returned, who now knows, someone didn't make it through, and is trying to cope with that? They're happy that they're back with their friends, but they are missing other friends, other members. How do you deal with that?
Grief is a difficult thing. The resiliency of senior citizens is really quite amazing. Mm-hmm. And, what do you say? I mean, we know some grief support groups that, people can participate in. They can consult their rabbi, their imam, their priest, their minister.
I guess I'm asking, it's a little different. It's a little kind of a different situation.
It's a little different. I mean, you're stuck in a pandemic. Mm-hmm. We have a wonderful senior who is going to be 105. And, she's seen 2 pandemics. She was a suffragette. She has a great attitude towards things. I mean, the worry more was healthcare workers, people had home care, and then suddenly they lost the person that was taking care of them because they now were afraid to go to that home, So that was a bit of a struggle. But I would say that the push going forward now, it's summertime. People are real happy to be together.
Yep.
All the providers are happy, and everybody's thinking of all sorts of things to entertain the seniors. And I'm just really delighted with the way it's gone. So we're feeling really good about it, and we were able, and I think one of the things that got the staff through was that we were able to arrange for shots for seniors.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You had
We had a great partnership with Rite Aid and with Temple Beth Emeth through Kathy Golderman and Rabbi Scott Speen. It happened. Nothing was planned. Nobody was seeking anything. I had actually taken my mother. I had accompanied my brothers to take my mother for her vaccine, and thanked the pharmacist and said, I'm the Commissioner of Aging. We're really great. If you ever have any open spots, would you let me know? Because we really have a lot of seniors who need to be vaccinated. And about 10 days later, she called up and she said, I have 200 vaccines. Do you think you could put together a clinic? And from that day on, it was almost every week that we were doing them at Temple Beth Emeth. The only thing the Temple asked of us was, well, they didn't ask anything. What they said was, our doors are open. Use them whenever you want. So the doors were open to us. It was a lovely venue. People loved getting shot there, believe it or not. The space was accommodating. It was warm. The staff was up all the time. We couldn't have gotten more help out of Beth Emeth. I mean, they dedicated people to us all day.
There was no hesitation?
No hesitation.
On the part of not on Beth Emeth, but on the community.
People wanted it. People were calling us. They started calling New York Connects. It was great. It was great. Actually, we miss it.
Sure. I mean, the numbers are great when it comes to people, particularly our older folks who have gotten their vaccinations. Now we need to continue encouraging, specific communities and specific age groups, the younger.
Yes, we've had seniors call us and say, "Can you arrange for my grandchild?" And we've been able to forward them on to do it, because we're kind of out of the vaccine business now for the Department for Aging. But
do you get a lot of questions though about boosters and stuff from seniors?
We've gotten a lot of them, and actually we discussed this with the pharmacist last week. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know. I think boosters are going to be a reality. She thinks they'll be a reality. The other thing I think is that unless there's really a huge change, I think people will be calling because we gave them the shot.
Yep.
People will then come back to us to look to get their booster.
Sure.
Unless they make it clear you can do this in in your doctor's office or something. But people like that small pod.
Well, it sounds like any discussion that I've heard on the national news, if there is a booster, the boosters would be specific to your original vaccine.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a mix and match situation.
No, I mean, it was, it was hard work, but we loved it. And it gave us a raison d'etre during the pandemic. I mean, we got out. It was a lot of work to get people set up because we did all the pre-work for the pharmacy over the phone. We filled out the forms with the seniors so that it could be done. So all they had to do was sign. So they weren't going to be having to stand in line, which nobody ever had to stand in line because we had chairs. We had spaced everybody out.
How did it work for their pass? Did you help them when the Excelsior pass?
Yeah, we're getting those calls now. People can't get their Excelsior pass. I couldn't get mine, and Kathy Golderman actually took my phone and said, "Here, I'm going to show you how to do this," and got it onto my phone, and we were able to do that. We actually took a call from somebody living in Montgomery County who didn't seem to be getting any response from where she got her shot or any of that, and needed to get the pass. And we discovered that the pharmacy that gave them the shots that day, somewhere in Montgomery County, I don't know where, and but it didn't get recorded there. It was recorded in Onondaga County.
Sure.
So they had to put in that they were from Onondaga County, and then they were able to get that. So little things like that. If somebody wasn't able to record it till the next day, the date you might have put in
for those screening
didn't
questions,
get in for the next day.
Yep.
So those are just little tricks that we've come across. But we've certainly gotten a lot of calls about grandchildren and boosters and all of that. But it was terrific work. And while we were doing that, well, I don't know if you're going to get to that. I was going to tell you about the quilt.
We can do that. I just want to remind folks that this is Albany County News, and Deb Riitano, the Albany County Department for Aging Commissioner, has joined us today. So let's get to the quilt, because we've talked about how services and programs kind of, still existed, but some of them morphed into something different, and the quilt is one of them. Talk about the quilt.
Well, I'm not a person who sews or does any handiwork. If you want a good meal, I'm your man, but, So I thought it would be interesting to do for the county a pandemic memorial quilt. And through the kindness of Eileen Pasquini, who is a quilter, an expert quilter, she put together packets. And how did we meet Eileen Pasquini? Through the vaccination program.
Okay.
And she and Kathy Kotlow, who was a very good friend of mine, also an expert at anything that has to do with a needle and thread, we were able to get this quilt done. And so we handed packets out. People would call. It had gotten in the paper that we were doing. People gave us calls. We actually hand delivered the packet so that we knew people got them. And they did a square. And they could do the square however they wanted. They could do it in memory of somebody or how they might be feeling that day. Some of the squares were very heartwarming, I miss my Nana in memory of someone. Really, and they're beautiful squares, And there were those that made you laugh, I mean, it was the big issue about hoarding the toilet paper.
That's right.
And so Rachel Crashone did one that had toilet paper, piled up. Our Green Island seniors did a beautiful one to commemorate the grab and go.
Sure.
So each square tells a story for that person. And they were just, it's just beautiful. It's on display right now in Green Island Senior Center, and after July 1st, we will show it at the Rite Aid on Western Avenue over by the university.
Okay.
And it'll be going around. Matter of fact, I was looking downstairs because I'd like to bring it here to the Colonie Library. And it's just a lovely piece of art, that I hope that a lot of people will see and enjoy it.
And at some point, it will be retired.
At some point, it'll be retired
to our Hall of Records and be a piece of history.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was the thing about the giving people the shot. The look of relief on people's faces when they were going out the door was really quite amazing. It was, very quiet moment when people would sit and they'd have to recover for, 15 minutes, whatever it was. And there was this almost epiphany moment that I've now become part of history. And that was also very wonderful to see and to be able to discuss with seniors who wanted to talk about it while we were standing there. So it was a big group effort. There were a lot of volunteers for this.
While some things continued, some things are coming back. And the Go and Dine Part 2. Can you give us a little preview of what that's going to be like?
Yeah, Go and Dine Part 2 is now being called Get Out, Let's Dine. So it'll be gold.
Get Out, Let's Dine. Okay.
Get Out, Let's Dine.
I'm writing this down.
That'll be the acronym. And we are hoping that, we're going to have somebody in place to help launch that. And we're looking forward to that. It won't be on the big scale that it was last time. This is a different kind of funding. We're still working through some of those pieces. But we hope to be able to do it. We'll do people in 200 segments for a quarter. So we probably won't touch as many people as we did the first time around. But it was such a hit. And seniors missed it.
Sure.
I mean, they wanted to get back into the program, and we want to be able to accommodate as many people as we can. So
well, that's a good thing that's coming back. Something
Yeah.
else that's coming back is Stop the Flu.
Stop the flu, right?
And the bags.
Kick the flu to Timbuktu. Yes, ma'am. That's where we're going with that. Yeah, we'll be getting our bags and filling them up, and we hope to be able to start that around September 1.
Okay, right around when people are encouraged to start getting their flu shots.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we got an offer from Rite Aid that they would come to the spaces where we would have people come and pick up, and they would offer flu shots there.
Oh, that's terrific.
So that really will be terrific for us, if we can see that through.
Well,
it's all, it all sounds great, and and we hope that it will all come to fruition at the end. And so there were always prayers involved.
But everything you're talking about leads me to talk about something that you announced with the county executive not long ago, and yet you've already really been doing it. And I'm talking about a senior center without walls.
That's right.
Senior Center Without Walls. For those who aren't familiar with, tell us what that means.
The short version is we'll do programming and we'll move it around. We'll move it around the county. What we wanted, what my vision was that we would have a campus of creative aging. And hopefully that will include our move to the nursing home.
All right, because that was actually announced.
That was actually announced.
That Shaker Place will now be home to, or very shortly home to.
And
for
we hope that we'll be able to work out whatever small snags there are to be able to make that happen. It's a hope, it's not a promise, but it's a hope. It's that there are some things that need to get worked out, and that we would be able to do things. There are no other in the state of New York, other campuses of creative aging. There is one in Michigan, and it's tied to a university. It has a lot to do with education, which is what I set out to do when I first got here. We had talked with Union College. We're working with Dr. Marguerite Ladico from the College of St. Rose, who was the former education chair. We're getting a needs assessment out to see what people are actually going to be interested in, what kinds of program that they're going to be interested in. Always a thing that's very important is the technological advice that people need, to be able to do that. And we're hoping to be able to work with some students to be able to work with seniors and have that connection, so it would be an intergenerational kind of thing. We did our Doctors In program that came to a screeching halt in February last year when everything got closed down, and when you knew the physicians didn't want to continue, you knew that this pandemic was something else. And so now we're happily going to be able to start that back up again in September. We're hoping to actually reprise Dr. Mark Fruderman with his expertise on diabetes, and because that's the one illness that we see continually rising among our seniors.
And is that
diabetes.
Is that because, is it a combination, is it a nature or a nurture? Is it because of what seniors are eating and their physical health, or is it something that is because they have it in their genes?
I don't know, but I'll ask Dr. Fruderman.
Okay. No, that sounds good.
I don't know, but I see it in my own family. I mean, no, I don't have diabetes. My husband, who's, this big, has it. And so, we see it, we see it in different communities around the county. And so he was just really terrific with the amount of information that, that he gave us, and also gave the information in a way that seniors can get it.
Sure.
I mean, we don't have medical degrees. Tell us, talkless to us. We want the brass tacks here, and that's what he did. And Dr. Michael Marmelstein, who is cardiologist, had done our February program.
Right, I believe out in Bethlehem.
Yeah, he did that in Bethlehem, and so we want to keep moving them around and have that happen. We hope to be starting chair yoga in Bern. And also, we'll be having a class at Beth Emeth. They've opened their doors to us to be able to do that too. So we have a lot of support in the community of people, nonprofits, religious institutions that are willing to really help us along. So I see good things in our future.
So are we saying that 2021 is now really, truly the year of the senior?
Yeah, no, I'm never saying that one again. I learned my lesson with that one, but hopefully, yes. But, we're looking forward to bigger and better things. And it's wonderful to have that kind of support to go with us. So
Sure. So as always, if anyone has any questions, or they can jump on albanycounty.com and go to Department for Aging to find out more.
And if they have ideas, we entertain everybody's ideas. So call us if you have an idea for a program. We're listening. So.
You're ready to expand, ready to go, ready to break out.
Yeah, more the merrier. We're on board with that.
Without walls.
Yeah, without walls.
Deb, you look great.
Thank you. So do you. Thank you for having me again.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that we're back here in studio, and that you're back as the
thank you for all that you do for us. We're really grateful, Mary.
Well, thank you. Deb Riitano, Commissioner for the Albany County Department for Aging. I'm Mary Rozak. This has been Albany County News. We'll see you again soon.